Welcome, viewers. Welcome to Midnight Coffee with Faisal, the bite-sized edition. As I mentioned, that this bite-sized edition is not a conversation, but more of the Q&A, answering some of the question that's been mooted to me by the audiences, and also some of the case study or case sharing in my personal experiences on the projects, yeah, that you are that I have been through with me, with my colleagues, and all those things. And in the last episode, I've talked about this week. Tonight's show that I am sharing some of the case sharing on the acceptance of stakeholders in the projects that we are running. Yeah, but for those who are regulars, please, I shout out in the box as to where you are viewing this from, and welcome back. And for those who are viewing this for the first time, I bid you a welcome, and also please shout out in the box as to where you are viewing this live stream from. Okay, I won't take. Let's get start into the business. And before we go there, please, you can follow my live stream on various platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook, and please do like and subscribe my YouTube channel. And also, I'm also available on Spotify under Project Talk, where you can listen while you're driving. Should you have missed the live stream, yeah. So it's available also on live stream on a podcast on Spotify. Okay. Yesterday, last sorry, last week, we talked about the experiences in running a project, where we are talking about a project and the acceptance of the various stakeholders at that point of time was lukewarm. Yeah. So what we did was we dwell into the details as to why we are facing this problem, and we discovered that in any projects, yeah, in any projects, you will have three. I wouldn't say types, but I would say three categories. Yeah, three categories of stakeholder, and we face that there are people who are very supportive, yeah, of the projects. There are people who are marginal, and there are people who resist. Yeah. So what we did is that we dive deep. Yeah, we dive deep into the stakeholder analysis, and we discovered that, yeah, for supportive, there is no issue. We have no issue with people who are supporting our projects. But what we are facing is that there are group of people, the two category, marginal and resist, where there are people who in marginal. There are two types of marginal supporters. Yeah, there are two types of marginal supporter. One, they support you. Yeah, they support your projects. And I believe you also face this situation. They support your project. They claim that they support your project in the management meeting, or in a high level meeting. When your management is supporting your projects, and when you are doing those projects and in front of the senior management, oh yeah, they say, oh, they are this very good and all those things, so they are supportive. And then once they come out from the meeting room, they remain silent. So that is okay. They are supporting they are marginally supporting your project, but they remain silent. The other category is the one that you need to be aware of. Yeah, they claim that they are supporting your projects. They are, yes, they're all out to support and giving you all those commitment. Yeah, so to speak, so to speak, and then when they leave the meeting room, or when they are away or when they are with somebody else, yeah, with another cluster or another group, they will start saying bad things about your projects. And I believe you guys also experience this, yeah. And this is what we call people who give you lip service. In front of you, they will say yes, and behind you, they will say a lot of bad things behind you, yeah. So this marginal, you have to be careful. You have to identify where they are, and we have identified there are people who are committed, but giving the lip service, but they don't badmouth your project. But we need to also understand the people who say yes, it's good in front of you or in front of your management team, and then they will say it's good, but then they will badmouth your project. So I will go into that, and then you have people who resist the projects. Yeah. Now resistance is not necessarily bad. I repeat, resistance is not necessarily bad. Sometimes people resist because they care, yeah, because they have in their past experiences, they have done some similar projects that you are trying to run through, and then they see the flaw in the way the project is being planned, or the way the project being executed. Now this group of people, you need to bring them on board. You need to learn from them as to why they are resisting this project. That means they are resisting the project not because they don't like the project, because they care that you may fail. Yeah, they may fail. You may fail in executing the project. So this is where you can convert people who resist. Yeah, people who resist because they care to become a supporter to you, to your project. The other group of people that resist for the sake of resisting, this one you have to also be mindful. Yeah, you have people who resist the project for the sake of resisting, for whatever reason. Yeah, some of them just don't like you. Yeah, people just don't like you because you are the project director, or you are the program director, you are the project manager. They just don't like you. Too bad. But there are people who don't like for the sake of not liking. Maybe they have no confidence in the whole planning and execution, and they don't care. They just want to see you fail, and then they resist for the sake of resisting. So what do we do with group of people? And what we did was, at that point of time, is to dwell further. Yeah, dwell further. Our team plus the management team, we sit down and all those things. And it is the sad part is that you and I, we face as project director, is that in front of the senior management team, or in front of the senior management, in front of management, they will say a lot of good things. But at the back, behind, yeah, behind the door, when you leave, they will say a lot of bad things. So what we did was, we discovered that uh, these two group of people, the marginal who badmouth your project, and also the people who resist for the sake of resisting. The How do you treat them? Yeah, I will talk about that. And you will discover that the people who resist the projects for the sake of resisting, and also marginal, resist but badmouth, there are three categories within each of the category. Whether they are supportive, whether they are marginal, whether they are resisting, there are three categories of people. First one is the intelligent people. The intelligent people, they won't say much. In fact, when you explain to them about the projects and all those things, about the benefit of the projects that will bring in, the outcome of the projects and all those things, they agree, and you don't have to spend much time with them. Yeah, the marginal, some of the marginal, for the category, marginal category, they are indifferent. To them, life is still continue as usual. Yeah, the life continue as usual, the work continue as usual. Whether you bring in this project on board, or whether you don't bring the project on board, it does not matter. To them, it does not matter, because they just need to do their work. And if it makes their life easier, if it makes their work easier, they will be happy. If it adds a little bit more work to them, then they will be having a lot of things to say about your projects. Yeah, so there are people who are indifferent, and then the other one are the ignorant. This is the one that you have to be uh, pay particular attention, because yeah, the ignorant people sometimes, yeah, sometimes they view things from a very um, narrow viewpoint. They view things from very narrow viewpoint, and those viewpoint is based on their perception. Yeah, and to them it's either their way or no way, and they muted themselves. Yeah, they muted themselves from any other external input or new things that can help them, because they just don't want to accept it, because they view it from the single lens from their point of view. So this is what I call deception by own perception. They are actually deceived. They themselves are being deceived by their own perception, which they have built up. And perception is one big items, and I will cover about perceptions and how you want to go about doing it in my next week episode. Yeah, stay tuned. In the next episode, I will cover about how do you break away from what we call duper syndrome. In my book I wrote in 2006 about a duper syndrome, deceived by own perception syndrome. Yeah, so these are the people, and the ignorant people who just close their door. And as project managers, let me share with you is that sometimes if you cannot get through them, yeah, you cannot get through them, you have to identify who are the influencer, who are influencing them, yeah, who are influencing them. So in project management, most of the project management practitioners, they know, yeah, you have this drasi who is the person that is directly responsible, who is accountable, who is consulted, and who information and all those things. So you have this template which you can Google up, Drasi and all those things. But what is missing is that during my time in 1995, in early 80s, yeah, in 85, 86, or 87, around there, uh, we found that we lack the fundamental knowledge on how to handle the stakeholders, and I mean that's the team setback. Yeah, so when we talk about that, then we discover that we have to identify who are influencing them to have that particular perception. So you handle the influencer rather than you handle them, because project life, I tell you, most of you agree, 80% of project success is as I mentioned in my previous episodes in my live stream, yeah, in my masterclass, 80% of the project hinges along the successful of the people. How successful you are managing the projects in terms of the people, not only project team but also the stakeholders, customers, suppliers, and all those involved in the project. Um, and 80% of that 80%, 80% of that 80% is about communication. So you need to continuously communicate, even though people who are supportive of your projects, yeah, people who are supportive of your project, you need to continuously communicate with them, update them, talk to them, walk with them, so that they continue to support you. Yeah. So even those who are supporting you, you need to communicate. People who are marginal, as I said, there are two types of marginal. Number one, people who give lip service, but at the end of the day, they will just remain silent. So these are the intelligent category of the marginal. You still need to communicate with them. Yeah. And when you talk about the people who are resisting you in the projects, then you also need to communicate. There is no such thing as over communication in projects. Yeah, you have to make sure that everybody is on the same page. That means you are looking. Everyone is looking at the same picture. Everybody is looking at the same direction, and this is the journey that we are we are taking. Yeah. So, when you talk about the ignorant people, and I said, don't bother, to spend too much time on the people who are resisting for the sake of resisting, um, and um, they are just have their own viewpoint. Yeah. So as I said, uh, uh, don't um, don't bother yourself too much. Yes, you need to communicate. You need to communicate with people who are resisting for the sake of resisting, and they fall under the ignorant people. Because you see, there's a saying elsewhere that I read is that the you don't argue with people who are ignorant, because what they will do is that they will try their level best. They will try their level best to protect their most precious possession. Yeah, they will protect their most precious possession, which is their ignorance. So at the end of the day, you will get what you call that? You will get a heartache, and you get emotionally distressed, because people continue to because you're being continuously attacked by people who resist for the sake of resisting, and they fall under the category of ignorant. Yeah, and and as I said, don't spend too much time into them, because you know at that point of time they will, whatever you say, they will resist you. But the thing is, you have to identify who is influencing them, and then you approach those influencer. Yeah, you approach those influencer to change their perception. If that um, that works. Yeah, if it doesn't work, you just ignore them, because you need to have the critical mass. In any projects, you need to have the critical mass, and if you have critical mass, you have to analyze. You have the critical mass on the supportive, yeah, of the people who are supportive of the projects, people who are marginal intelligent people that is not bad mouthing your project. And then you have the people who resist, but they care about the project, so you bring them on board. So the minute um, you have three or four or five out of six group of people, yeah, when you have four or five group of people out of six, then you have a critical mass. In fact, you have, even if you have four out of six, you already have the critical mass to move the project. So what I'm saying here is that communication is very important, and you cannot have a communication strategy that fits them all. Yeah, you have to make sure, yeah, that you communicate your communication strategy. This is where I'm saying about my case sharing. Yeah, for those who are supportive and intelligent. Yeah, for those who are supportive and intelligent, we communicate to their level of understanding. You cannot go to them if they understand the situation. You cannot go to them and repeat the same mundane things which they already know. Yeah, which they already know. Or that means your communication strategy. You have to strategize your communication into uh, what you call, into a bite size, again I'm using the bite size communication or communicate to them, and give them as and when you have scheduled it. Yeah, so you have to have a clear communication plan for those who are supportive and intelligent, and you have to craft the communication content. Yeah, you have to craft the communication content so that they don't feel insulted, they don't feel over information or information overload, because the supportive people, intelligent supportive people, the minute they sense information overload, they will start closing your communication flow. They will not just want to receive, they know, and you start to beginning to annoy them. Yeah, so you have to make sure that those who are intelligent and supportive, you have to know the content has to be very precise, straight away, and then without any stories behind it, because they know what you're going through. People who are marginal, as I said, marginal, but they don't badmouth your project, is the same treatment, because they can be intelligent as well within that category of marginal. Yeah, Whether and the second part, if they are indifferent, you still need communicate. So to them, you have to strategize. You cannot give too frequent because they are indifferent, and they know that if it helps them, okay, fine. If it doesn't help them, it's okay, no problem. So you still have to have a communication strategy, not only on the frequency and also the content have to be designed. Yeah, and then you have this category of people who resist for the sake. They resist because they care. The people who resist and care, you have to continuously communicate with them. Sometimes it's as more than the one that is indifferent or the one who are supportive intelligent, because they care. That means they have some intelligence in it. Yeah, we don't think bad about people. Yeah, so that means they have the intelligence to accept or to receive this information. And when they care, you can start having an engagement session with them, asking what is it that they feel that this project won't work. What are the things that in their opinion that how this project can do things differently. And these are good source of information, viewers and listeners. Yeah, because I'm also podcasting this on my Spotify, so I have to address my listeners, and on YouTube will be my viewers. So viewers and listeners, you have to bear this in mind. People who care resist, and because they care, you have a lot of knowledge that you can harness from them, and then modify as you go along in terms of projects. Yeah, your project flow and all those things. So be mindful of people who resist that care. Now, the final piece would be the people who resist for the sake of resisting. The people who resist for the sake of resisting, as I said, you come out with a communication plan, and once you find that it's not working, you have to start talking to the influencer and see how you can communicate with the influencers. What sort of your communication strategy that suits them? Because there are people who just like facts. Yeah, you just tell them what the things are, they're okay. Some people they like you to be a storyteller. So you have to learn how to become a storyteller, because they like to listen to gossip, they like to listen to all those things. So you have to build your communication. Yeah, you have to build your communication strategy, content and context along that line. Yes, you would say that, oh no, as me as a project manager, I don't want to waste time on these people. Yeah, uh, we don't want to waste our time, because this actually take a lot of our time. Yeah, building the stories, and not excluding the headache and whatever pain of the part of your body that you prefer. uh, but these are the people that you need to develop the communication strategy. Forget about the people who resist for the sake of resisting. Go into their influencer. If you are able to influence the influencer, then you will have a high chance of bringing the people who resist for the sake of resisting on board. Yeah, but if you have issues with the influencer, then you have to move on. Yeah, you have to move on, because in projects there, we cannot take too much things personally. Yeah, because the minute you start getting personally attached into the issues in your projects, whether it's communication and all those things, if you bottle up everything, yeah, if you take all those things, all those emotional items into you, you will have indigestion, and they will have a feast of their lifetime. They will be having fun, saying more bad things about you, mocking you and all those things, and you have indigestion. So why bother? Yeah, because in projects, I mean, this is where I said I'm sharing my case, my case, and you as a project manager, you just move on. Yeah, you just move on, because at that time, just to share with you, is that I'm still young at that time. I was, I think, about 28 years old, and some of those stakeholders, those people who resist the projects and all those things, can be in 45, 40 to 50 years age group. Yeah. So you can imagine, and that is why I have a lot of my guests on my midnight coffee, young people, because young people also you go through this because the seniors are not listening to you, and what do? You get emotionally depressed. You consider the environment toxic and all those things before you consider. I will cover toxic environment in my later bite size, but before you consider the environment toxic, or before you even consider your bosses as toxic, you have to do an analysis, yeah, of your self leadership, because you are a diamond in the rough. When you are young, you are a diamond in the rough. You are a diamond. You just need to be polished, yeah. And if you are a diamond, no matter where you go, you will still be able to perform. You will still be able to shine. So don't give up, yeah. Don't give up. And I always say to people, yeah, is that you need to upgrade. You need to upgrade yourself, yeah. You need to upgrade. One of the suggestion, yeah, people ask me, okay, how do I go about doing it as a project manager and all those things. I always like to tell people these things, yeah. Functional competencies are good for you to perform your job. That means people who resist you, people who are marginal supporters and all those things, they are good, but they are functional competencies. They are good. They are good. I'm a good engineer. I mean, I'm a good engineer, and I know there are a lot of good engineers out there. They are good doctors. They are medical doctors. They are good architect. They are good finance controllers and all those things. So the functional competencies is good for you to perform the job. But what you need to do is that you need to develop your survival competencies. Survival competencies is where in the project management, as I was saying, you need to learn continuously. You need to learn continuously. And I will cover next week how you can break this duper syndrome, as I mentioned. And just to give you a taste, is that uh, functionally, as an engineer, I'm good. My team is full of engineers and all things. We are good, but unfortunately, that's our functional competency. We don't have the survival competencies. When you talk about survival competencies, is we talk about how do we go about managing things, organizational behavior, stakeholder dynamics, uh, uh, team dynamics. You talk about um, what you call it, leadership. Yeah, these were not thought. Yeah, these were not thought during our engineering studies. And why I say it's functional is the same. Architects, medical doctors, engineers, lawyers, we are taught about our functional competencies to perform our job. The minute we start managing things, we found that whatever the qualification functional competency that we have, we can throw it outside the, I mean, we can throw in the waste bin. Yeah, we can throw in the waste bin, because the problem that you face is no longer functional. The problem that you face is people, and people you have to go into a management study. Yeah. So when you talk about management study, I would like to promote this is AIMSMET uh, group of companies. They have a lot of program for your own self development. It can be, if we go into the if we can go into the website, let me pull out the website. I know you are on the website. Okay. If you look at the program, you have shall I say sorry. You have the normal MBA, yeah, manage masters in business administration. There are also executive programs. So people ask me, where should I lead? It all depends on you. I mean, you can connect with me on, you can direct message me on my various platform. We can have a one-to-one consultation. Yeah, we can have a one-to-one consultation. But what I want to uh, bring your attention to is that I know it's slow. Yeah, this one. Okay, I executive program in project management, and this is where I personally design the program for the project management, and it is very industry driven because it's executive program. I don't want to teach the normal program, the academic program, but I facilitate the industry based program for the project management. Yeah. So as I said, yeah, you can contact me direct. And the question is that I always get is that from these people is that well, people like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, they're college dropouts, but they are very successful. These are the things that you will get from the people who resist you for the sake of resisting. My answer to them is simple. Okay, fine. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates drop out from high school, but how many books they read a day, or how many books they read a week? Answer that question first. You use Bill Gates and Steve Jobs as an example, but you don't read. You only in the 80s. I mean, in the 80s, we don't have this Google, we don't have all these online resources like what you guys are facing. You having now. You guys are so fortunate to have all these resources online. Yeah, but for us at that point of time, we have to go to the library, we have to read the hard copy, the book, we have to go to the library to loan. And I personally bought a lot of books because I need to educate myself, yeah, in terms of why I was facing this problem. And I have a library full of books. And until today, now is I wouldn't say collecting dust. I still use them, but most of the time is that I get from online sources. Yeah, because we can always search on Google. Yeah. So what I'm saying here is that you need to you need to have the functional competencies is good, but to do your job, but you need to expand your survival competency. And your survival competency is where you need to continuously learn. Yeah. I've shown you the AIMSMET website just now. Yeah. Again, I'm putting this back. They have general management. They also have project management, which I was involved in the design of these things. And I will cover that next week as to what we actually cover in the project management. I will touch a little bit, but you can please communicate with me either through my various platform. You can connect me with on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube or Spotify. All those platform. We can organize for a one-to-one coaching, and also a one-to-one consultation. Yeah, on how you want to maneuver forward. Yeah, so moral of the story is that communication is very important in projects, and we know that. And 80% of a project, 80% of the time, yeah, as a project managers, is that you need to uh, communicate with people. And when you talk about the people, you have these three category of people: people who are supportive, people who are marginal, and people who are resisting. And we have gone through into the details of supportive, marginal, and also resisting. Not all are bad, because there are also areas where you can learn from those who resist. Yeah, and also from the marginal. And you have to be aware that people technically have their own perception, and they fall under that three subcategory. Within each category, there are three subcategories where we talk about whether they are intelligent, whether they are indifferent, or they are ignorant. Yeah, and as a project manager, or project leader, or project program leader, we have to equip ourselves with how to communicate with them. And we cannot use one communication content and context that fits one size that fits them all. No, no way. There is no such thing as one size that fits them all, because every stakeholders have a different um, aspiration, different requirements, and different information need. Yeah, and that is my basically a little bit on my case sharing that I have promised. Please don't forget to connect with me on the various platform that I have, and we can do a one-to-one consultation. And next week, yeah, next week I will be sharing with you a tool for you project managers, how to break the deception or deceived by own perception syndrome, which I wrote in my book Trapped in Between. I will give the link of the book in my in below. You can click and then you can get it online. And I will share with you how do you the habits that you need to put in to break this so that you become a high performer. So To all viewers and listeners, if you are a project manager, whether you, regardless of age, whether you are young, whether you are old, uh, don't give up. Yeah, don't give up. You will go through all these peculiarities in when you run a project, especially when it's something that something new that you want to bring into the organization. You will face all this problem. The question is that how do you prepare yourself? And for you to be able to prepare yourself is to continuously learn and upgrade yourself. Yeah, and forget about what people say about you, because you are a diamond in the rough that need polishing. And once you are polished, once you are a diamond, no matter where you are, you will still shine. So to all those young and old people, to all those young people who are so frustrated, sometimes demotivated because of the environment that you are in and all those things, don't be demotivated, because you need to lead yourself. You need to lead yourself, and what you need to do is to develop yourself. Yeah, and from there you would see that things will fall in the right place. Okay, with that, I would like to call it a night. Thank you for those who are viewing this live, and for those who wants to do a follow up, please by all means communicate with me on my various platform, and we can arrange for a one-to-one what you call it, consultation. And before that, I would also like to wish Datuk Dr. Gelsio, Professor Datuk Dr. Gelsio, for his upcoming birthday, which is next Tuesday. Happy birthday, Datuk. Usually he would give some comments, but I think tonight he's not here. Okay, happy birthday. And with that, to all Muslim who are practicing fasting during the Ramadan month, a blessed Ramadan, and have a blessed and please stay safe, and have a productive week next week. With that, I'm signing off. I promised not more than 20 minutes, but I'm going into 37 minutes now, coming up to 28 minutes, 38 minutes. With that, I bid you guys a good night, and have a blessed Sunday, and have a blessed Ramadan. With that, good night.
Thank you, everyone. That's a wrap.